True silence, the space that holds everything. You're listening to Inspire Me with Jay, where science meets spirit and stories of meditation and the near death experience awaken what's possible within us all. I'm Jay, and this is your moment to be inspired. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. I'm your host, Jay Spillers. Today, we're just going to do an audio of this podcast. I think it fits with our subject, which is finding silence, being in silence. And really, silence is the space where we can hold all things, where we can find peace, stillness, presence. I did a class a few days ago, and we played a video of a CBS Sunday morning program where they were talking about silence, silent retreats, and how people were finding healing in them and relieving stress and anxiety. They would go to a silent retreat and spend 8 days there in silence, and how refreshing it was to come out of it. And I looked up about silent retreats, and from what I can gather, most silent retreats doesn't necessarily mean absolute silence. It just means that you stop talking and chattering and interacting so much, and there can be sound, there can be music, there can be a teaching from a meditation teacher and so forth from at different points during the day, but it's pretty quiet. And in this silence, people may initially go there to escape, but what they really find is presence and stillness. And then they're able to take that into their everyday life and cope better with what life throws at us. We do tend to think of silence as no noise, no chaos, no people. And of course, that is a form of silence, but science can just be, silence can just be quiet spaces. It can be a place to go within ourselves. Even when the world is loud, you can look within and find tranquility and serenity. Because sometimes I can be in a large crowd and I just take a moment to go within myself. If I'm able, I might close my eyes, but even if I'm not, and just find a moment of serenity, even while there's so much noise. You could be in a loud restaurant, you could be in a sporting event, whatever. And even if it's just for a few seconds, go within, be still, be quiet. And it can be quite a refreshing thing. I think silence gives us the ability to find awareness. It's not necessarily absence, but awareness. Could be awareness about different things in our life, who we are. Could just be an unspoken awareness, a inner knowing, a zen kind of thing. I just am aware, I feel. And we kind of sometimes experience this with meditation and with quiet reflection, and the near-death experience teaches us about silence and different spiritual practices. It's just a chance to slow things down, quiet the mind, and be. I think sometimes what may scare us about silence is we think, oh, I'm going to have to face things that I don't really want to face. I've got grief. I've got fear. I've got who am I, my identity, trying to find meaning and purpose in things. But I've noticed like with meditation and you'll be silent, it really isn't a scary thing. It's actually helps you to face those issues in a much better way. Because when you're silent and you're quiet, your mind and body are at peace or at a calm state, and you're able to work through issues of grief, fear, and identity much better. So rather than being like, I need to distract myself to escape, rather, I just simply be quiet and allow myself to open up to reflection. And I can face these things in a more calm fashion. I think that's why we often seek distraction, is because we're afraid of what might be there, what we might experience. And I think just allow yourself to be there, be in the quiet, can just be such a profound thing. You can just take a moment right now and you might notice the ocean waves that are playing in the background or things you hear around you, traffic, a fan. You might notice other nature sounds if you're outside. Just take 60 seconds and we'll notice what's around us. Just take time to reflect. And just come back now. See, I think silence isn't really an escape, but it's something that helps us to become resilient, something that helps us to have the strength to move forward. Because sometimes it's in a way it's sort of like recharging your battery. You go to sleep at night and things seem fresh in the morning. It sort of refreshes you, and you might practice silence through meditation, prayer, or just simply sitting in the stillness for a few minutes. But I would encourage you to seek true silence and find a space for everything. Now, we're just going to go ahead and close out, and you can listen to the ocean waves if you want. Take a few more minutes. We'll let the ocean waves play for a while. But I thank you for joining me.